Hello everyone, this is Samantha Thomas. I'm a reference librarian at Albright College, and I am going to give you a how-to guide on giving a reference interview to patrons. And I'm going to break this process down into about 10 steps. So you may be wondering, what is a reference interview? Well, a reference interview is when a librarian asks a patron a series of questions or interviews their patron to find out what it is they need help with. The first step to any reference interview is to be approachable. As a librarian, you want your patrons to be comfortable approaching you and asking questions. The next thing you need to do is make sure you listen to your patron's request, and you should proceed to ask open-ended questions. What makes a librarian or person approachable? You should try to have a pleasant demeanor, make good eye contact so the person knows you're paying attention to them, have relaxed body language, and try to speak with a calm, clear voice. What are open-ended questions? Open-ended questions are questions without a yes or no answer. You can't answer them with a yes or a no. So you usually would be asking questions that start with a who, what, when, where, why, or how. The next step you want to do while asking your patrons open-ended questions is to make sure you are listening to the patron's request and descriptions as they respond to your questions. And you want to try to keep your questions in line with the patron's topic. If necessary, in step 5, you should ask more specific, clarifying questions. What do I mean when I say clarifying questions? How specific should they get? It's going to really depend on the topic that your patron is asking about, but generally speaking, you want to ask questions such as whether or not this research is for personal or school research, because that's going to affect what types of citations the person is realistically going to need. Other questions could include, do you need color or black and white photos? Or to make sure you understand the question that the patron wants answered, ask things like, are you looking for Martin Luther King Jr. or Sr.? Or asking the patron if they're looking for poetry or nonfiction literature. Make sure you really understand what topic the patron is looking into. As you go through the process of asking your patron questions and listening to their responses, you should be communicating your research and search progress as you go along, collecting materials for your patron. You should try to then describe the materials you are pulling, the records for those materials, and confirm that the items that you're pulling sound like what the patron is looking for. Then you should offer assistance in collecting and selecting the print and electronic materials, not just collecting, let's just say, call numbers on the items, but you should give the patrons call numbers or the electronic links so that they can access the items. Then you really should go about citing your sources. When possible, try to email or send your patrons electronic citations if they are provided from the database you are using. Otherwise, you will have to use a citation manual. And finally, when you believe your patron has all the materials they need, you should follow up to confirm that the patron is satisfied with your research assistance and ask if they need any further help.